what position group are you least worried about? We're all over the map in the chat.
I was going to say, personally, running back. Obviously, I have no concerns at all with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery.
That's what I was going to say, too.
No concerns there. It's just like
Sione Vaki, Craig Reynolds, Zonovan Knight.
You talk about the depth.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Weird. That's me, man.
Man. All right, so you frame the question as depth, and then because with depth and what I'm least concerned about, those are kind of two different answers. So I'll give what I'm least concerned about. And this is maybe a little bit of a cop-out and more all-encompassing. I'm actually going to go with the front four. Because not that I'm over the moon about Marcus Davenport, but he can be solid. You all know I'm over the moon about Aiden Hutchinson. James Houston potentially coming back. You got DJ Reader and Aleem McNeil in the middle. You've got Josh Pascal as a rotational piece. Potentially even a Broderick Martin, a Mekhi Wingo, a John Kaminsky. That doesn't sound that bad. At least when it terms of all of those guys that I mentioned. And especially if Marcus Davenport can actually regain some of his 2001 form, I think this defensive line has an opportunity to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, if those guys like Kaminsky and Levi O and Josh Pascal, if those guys are your depth, your role players, that defensive line, that front four looks a lot different than even if Kaminsky's a starter. Like, I love Kaminsky, but he's a different type of player when he's your first guy or second guy off the bench.
Yeah,
what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, John Kaminsky, you even kind of saw it last year. And I'm not saying that he had a bad year or anything like that, but I went the whole offseason, I was talking about how John Kaminsky is going to surprise a lot of people. He's going to be maybe the guy that is second on the team in sacks, and it just never quite materialized. I'm not saying he was bad. It's just John Kaminsky is just kind of who he is, and if he's a backup, I'll take that any day of the week, especially given his motor and everything. Absolutely.
I love the balance in what you're saying here, because even though people still feel the Lions need to add some more edge help, you're still sitting here saying, no, but this defensive line is going to be nasty this year.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. If they added another edge, I wouldn't. That would be fine, depending on who it is. It's just, it's not as. I don't think it's as dire as some people say.
Dad with Tourette's agrees with you. We had the #1 rush D and have Aleem and Hutch and Reader as proven entities.
That's true.
I'd argue opposite. I'm least concerned for that group. I think he agrees.
That's a good one.
Sounds like
that's a good one, Sam.
And that leads perfectly into mine. My position group would be interior defensive line. Because when you look at what we had last year, once Aleem went down, Tyson Alualu, Quentin Bohanna, just the bottom of the barrel. Like, we had to go to the old folks' home to go get some defensive tackles to play for this team. But when you look at what they did this year with DJ Reader, Aleem coming back healthy, you have Mekhi Wingo, you do have hopefully Broderick Martin being able to showcase his style this year. I'm looking forward to that room. That's a room I'm really not worried about this year going into the season.
That's a good one. Actually, Ed O'Neill on Twitter, I think we're going to show it or have a segment later in the week. Sort of highlight it was like the fantasy experts or it was basically this chart taken from PFF stats, but it shows how not where they're ranked, but where Aleem McNeil and DJ Reader fit in terms of their pass rush and run defense grades, I believe. They're right up there with some of the best. Oh, JB, what about you? Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. I was just going to say that Aleem and DJ Reader, PFF thinks very highly of them. Trust me, I know. Go ahead, JB.
No, I was agreeing with Kool-Aid as well, too. I think the running back room is the one that I'm, like, at least overly confident in, especially given the fact that Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, they have earned my respect as a running back duo. And just the simple fact that, hey, if either one of these two go down or if they get tired in a game, you have quality in depth in Craig Reynolds and Sione Vaki, who are just as versatile as ever. I've been a Vaki guy. Like, I'm rooting for this guy to make this roster and be an impact player on this team as well, too, just because how versatile he is. So I'm overly confident in this running back room.
I like that.
How close were any of you guys from going linebacker or cornerback?
I was close. I was close to going linebacker. I was close to linebacker, and the only thing that keeps me from corner is that Emmanuel Mosley has had a terrible last couple of years of injury luck, and Rakestraw and Terran Arnold are rookies. With linebackers, though, imagine if Jack Campbell takes that step, and you got Campbell, Anzalone, Derek Barnes. Hey, I know, right? And then your backups. And I'm not saying I think super highly of these guys, But if your backups are Jalen Reeves-Maybin and Malcolm Rodriguez, and hell, even Ben Neiman, who from 2019 to 2022 averaged about 55 tackles a season, that's not bad.
That's not.
It's not like it's an elite. We're not talking about like, the 85 Bears or anything like that. But in terms of depth, in terms of having a lot of players who are NFL linebackers, Lions have 6 of them. Maybe Ben Neiman's not anymore, but at least 5 of them.
Yeah,
So you're worried about depth?
Isn't that wild? Like 2 years ago, we just said hands down, that's the position group we're most concerned about.
Yeah,
Like,
seriously.
not even close. I don't think it would have even been a thought, even with the secondary they had 2 years ago. We were concerned, is Anzalone a starting linebacker?
Yeah.
in
A
the
lot of
league?
people had questions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And now
I
we're
did.
like, should he have been?
I was correct.
Yeah, maybe not.
People were
all-pro,
wondering,
but Pro
like, yo,
Bowl.
what is Dan Campbell doing?
Right.
Why is he just trying to force this on us? And now we're sitting here like, yo, I don't think anybody has a doubt about who Alex Anzalone is now as a linebacker and honestly as a team leader as well.
Yeah.
I love the fact that we have other players in our division complaining about Alex Anzalone. I absolutely love that type of stuff. Oh, man, yo, he hits too hard. Duh.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want out here? I love it. I love it.
This is football. It's
And you're
two
right.
and touch.
With the cornerbacks, I'm very optimistic about them, but how much does the rookies and the unknown factor there, how much does that factor into kind of what you see as depth with this cornerback?
Yeah, and that's the thing. We can use reasoning that you think they're more likely than not to be good just because, Brad Holmes drafted them. And like
premier prospect.
Yeah, absolutely. And Terry and Arnold, he was, I would say, a steal. And Ennis Rakestraw, to some, was a steal. And they're with the Lions coaching staff and drafted by Brad Holmes. But you still, when it comes to rookies, I just don't think you can make that declaration just yet. Although I'm pretty confident that by this time next year, we're going to be talking about our secondary as maybe our deepest unit. And yes, I said our secondary as our single deepest unit.
By the end of the season, that could be.
Yes.
We could be talking about this as the deepest, maybe the best unit on the team. Maybe.